Yes, sir, yes, sir. What's going on, family? Another Motivational Monday. Let's get right down to business. By my man, Mr. Herman Melville, it has been said that it is better to fail at originality than to succeed in imitation. And as truthful as that is, there is a benefit to being a sponge to some degree in certain situations. Let's get into it. So now that you need any kind of instructional manual to understand how a sponge works, let's get right into the nitty-gritty of why I believe that it's okay to be a sponge. See, sponges, we already know, absorb whatever's around it. If it's water, oil, anything that is around, if you put a sponge into it, it's going to absorb it. The difference in the situation in most things is what we retain. See, no matter what, whether you're talking about a sponge, a rag, or any other kind of cloth, whatever, if it absorbs what's around it, eventually you have to wring it out. That's why I believe our problem comes into play. Now, we were born with a sponge, in case you don't know what it is. It's up here. Everything that we see, whether we think that we're retaining the information or we're not, we're always absorbing something. People's energy, the way they talk, the way they eat. Just think about it. How many times have you looked up later on and wondered, how did you develop a new habit that you really don't even remember having an interest in? It was because you were around some people or in certain situations where that was the acceptable thing in that environment. And what did you do? You conformed to that situation. Now you're at the point now where you're trying to get rid of a habit or a thing that you used to do and you really didn't care for it in the first place. It's time for us to start squeezing them sponges out. It's time for us to start squeezing this sponge out specifically. So how do we work better on utilizing our sponge? Well, first and foremost, we have to acknowledge that it's consistently always in use. And once we understand that it's always in use anyway, we'll start to make sure that the environments that we put ourselves in are going to be healthy into our situation of absorption. Recognize the actual utilization of what the sponge is for. You put it in the right environments, chances are you're going to absorb more of the things that's going to help you. You put it in the wrong environments, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory. So it starts on the environment first, because the sponge goes wherever you go. Understand that if you're not in the right places, the right spaces, doing the right things, then unfortunately, if you don't have a strong sponge and a very selective sponge, then you're going to absorb a whole lot of things that's going to set you back and put you in positions that make your journey so much longer and so much more difficult than it needs to be. So once again, pay attention to your surroundings. If you have not already, made the adjustments to who you spend your time with, who you're talking to on the phone all the time, what you're watching on TV all the time, what you're surfing and doing on the internet all the time, if you're not paying attention to those things, your sponge is actively being used in the wrong direction. It's time for us to be truthful with that. It's time for us to understand that if we don't feed our minds and if we're not cognizant of the things that we are allowing to be sponged into our minds, then we're going to soak up a whole lot of unnecessary things and not get to where we need to get to. All right, family, so let me wrap this one up and get y'all off on your week. Listen, do yourself a favor this week, right? If you have not done so already, start to look around and make sure that the environments and the things that you're putting your energy into and your time into and your sponge into are benefiting you. If they're not, start to make subtle little shifts. Maybe do a little less of this thing over there and give yourself more of an opportunity to absorb more positive things. Look at your environment, make the adjustments appropriately, and watch how quickly things begin to change for you. Do me a favor, if you have not done so already, please smash that like button, click that subscribe button for more motivational content just like this and all the other videos that I put out weekly. As always, have a great day and an outstanding week, and tap into your greatness. Now go on out there and pay attention to where you're putting your sponge at. Remember, the things that you absorb will make a difference in your life. All right, family. Peace. Let's go.